Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. So I apologize, I kind of got my videos out of sequence a little bit last night. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the footage that I got last night of me putting these bases in. And then I'll come back here and show you where exactly we're at today, what we're going to do next, and where we're going. Okay guys, so I don't know if you can see it or not, but I did have to use the leveling feet. This concrete floor isn't perfect, but I didn't expect it to be. So I'm using the leveling feet and just getting everything dialed in. And once I had this base set, then it's just a matter of setting each one of the cabinets on and working my way down. The center dividers that I put in the base land center on the cabinet. So I've got good support all the way, and the leveling feet will keep everything nice and level. And of course, I don't care how new the building is, they're never dead flat to the wall, so I've actually had to shim the backs just a little bit. But again, that's just to keep everything as square and level as I can. And then we'll come back and worry about getting tops and all that good stuff on. Okay guys, so there's all the bases in. They're all nice and level and plumb. I'm super happy with the way that they went in. Everything came together really nice. So tops and mounting the miter saw and all that will be next. Okay, so since this is where the miter saw is going to live, I obviously had to have hose access. So I went ahead and cut that 3-inch hole in the side of that cabinet, and there's plenty of room behind those drawers for that hose, so that works out well. And then of course that comes over to the CT parking. I'll probably also run the power cord up there. So I wanted the shelf for the miter saw to be adjustable. So this is my solution to it. I cut some long slots in here, made a shelf bracket, of course measured and got all the measurements right. And then let me move the camera, I'll show you the other side and show you how we got to here. So there you can see I went ahead and drilled holes and installed those T-nuts, and I'll use these wheels that match right up in there. The issue that I had is the T-nuts really didn't sit flush into this plywood, so on the brackets themselves, I just went ahead and free-handed some relief for that, and that should allow that to drop right on and slide kind of up and down and allow me to adjust the saw instead of shimming the saw. Okay, so I just double layered up some plywood here and set a shelf in, and it's pretty dead on, which is comical in itself, but none of these tops are screwed down. They're not even screwed together yet. They're cut oversized. I still got to get trim on it and all of that, but I needed the saw in place so I could tell where all of my fences and stuff go. And we'll talk about that here in just a minute. The next concern that I have before I commit this top is my dust collection. I took care of that in the cabinet, but getting it up here, it's easy to drill a hole and come up through there, but that hose also has to slide. So I think what I'm going to do is just cut a relief in this back corner and leave a nice wide spot for it to come up through and flex around as it needs to. And then dust that drops out of there will just fall in my offcut bin in the bottom. So that's a good thing. So I think that's what I'm going to do is just cut that relief over here, and then I can go ahead and kind of commit this to this location. Okay, so there I got the saw set in and everything is functioning just great. I went ahead and ran the dust collection hose just to make sure everything was going to work good, and it's all really good right there. So next up I'm going to start working on the tops, and I'm going to create a template for doing each side. Let me do a little template work here and then I'll show you what I did. Okay, so I created this little template to tell me where my tracks go. This is as much for telling me where not to put screws as it is for routing it later. And I matched up my 3/4 bit and a collet, and it fits these just perfectly so that I can go ahead and route for my T-track later. But for now, it's just for telling me where not to put screws, and I can get the 2 layers of my top put together, and then when the Formica gets here, I can put this routing template back on and go. And then for the other side, I just have to turn my blocks around to the other side, use the same template, and we'll be doing the same thing on both sides. Okay, so there's that side set in place, ready for the Formica that's going to go on it, and then it'll get a hardwood edge trim, probably walnut. But I'm going to go ahead and get the other side ready to go, and then I'm just kind of on hold for some parts. My Formica isn't in yet, and I'd really like some dust collection in here before I go cutting the hardwood edges that I want. So probably going to be a few days, but in the meantime, I'll get the other side set up just like this side, and we'll be ready to go. Okay guys, well there the tops are all squared up and set on. They're not pushed all the way to the wall yet because this still gets hard edge trim. So we'll take care of that when I get the trim on. But before I do that, I got to get the Formica on it. And the reason I went with Formica is because this side of the saw is 9 feet long, and I didn't want a seam. So I opted to go ahead and put the Formica on, and it'll look pretty good. I'm happy with the Formica. So the question comes up. It's a popular topic in the woodworking world right now about fences. There's a few out there that have opted to do away with their fences, and I've heard a multitude of reasons for doing away with those fences. But the one that kind of scares me the most is so that they can put a wonky board in here and use the chop saw to break it down. I don't like that. If the board is wonky, this is the wrong tool to be breaking that piece of stock down. So I've chosen to keep my fences, but I did borrow their idea a little bit. And beyond the end of my fences, I've added 4 feet of T-track so that I can extend a stop block out and batch cut longer material, but it will always have a flat side that sits against the saw and my fences. There's another thought out there on cabinets that come all the way out here and don't have these fences at all. They're just cabinets. Jay Bates is one that's done that, and there's been a few others that have copied his idea. He has a beautiful station. I really like his station. But what I don't like about his station is you can't put a zero clearance fence on here and still have this support out here. So I've opted not to go his style as well. My cabinets will be mounted to the wall up above, and these fences will be completely adjustable on T-track so that I can adjust and put a zero clearance fence on this saw if I choose to do so. Okay, so while I'm waiting for materials, I got my wife to come out and give me a hand holding cabinets up. I did screw a straight edge up here to hold them up, kind of like a third hand. But all the cabinets are up now, or the 3 that I built at least are up and doing well. So unfortunately, I'm still missing hinges. Rockler, unfortunately, as soon as I ordered my hinges, placed them on back order after I made my order. So I've had that problem a couple of times with Rockler, but you know, it is what it is. So I'm still waiting on hinges. Everything is drilled and ready to go for them. So as soon as the parts come in, I'll get them hung, and we continue to wait on parts for the tabletops. Okay, so I got some hinges in, and they weren't the ones from Rockler. They were the backup order that I made to Amazon. So just a word to the wise, do a little shopping. The Amazon prices were about half of what Rockler was, and they're still Blum. They're exactly the same hinges. So shop around a little bit. So obviously I've done a little bit here. The hinges are in, and which is cool. I got the drill station set up on here. Even though I haven't done the countertops yet, I had to get everything kind of set up. The drill station wouldn't allow me to have my chargers on top anymore, so they're actually mounted here to the underside of the cabinet, and man, that just worked out fantastic. I'm super happy with that. And I got the the sign that my kids gave me for Christmas up on the wall. So as soon as Formica comes in, we'll go ahead and finish up these countertops and give you a little overview of everything and get this project wrapped up. Okay, so there you can see the Formica's on. I didn't video any of that. I do not claim to be a Formica expert. I know just enough to be dangerous. So next up, I've got the walnut rough trimmed for the trim, and I'm going to get that plane down. I still don't have dust collection, so I'll be kicking open the big door and letting it fly. Okay, so no fancy joinery here, just going to be butt joints. So I clamped a stop block here, so I have a good positive stop. I have another scrap here, so I don't lift too high, and just glue and brad nails. Okay, so now all I'm going to do is just use that jig I made earlier, and I'm going to go ahead and route for the T-track. Okay guys, well there you go. There's a nice finished miter station, and I think it really incorporates what I need for my workflow and my storage needs and all of that. The station is very much modular, so they're all based around the festool size here, but everything is exactly that size, so whether it's drawers, whether it's doors, it doesn't matter. It just lends itself well to batching out lots of cabinets. The upper storage was great, and again, they're a little different size because there's 2 in 1, but again, they're very batchable as well, so it lends itself to a fairly quick and easy build. I know I took some liberties with the fences, and it's really no slight on Mark Spagnolo. He chose not to do fences on his miter station, and that's what works for his shop and his flow, and that's great. I just don't happen to agree with it. So I do have fences on mine. They're set in T-Drax, and they're very adjustable, so I can come back and put a zero clearance fence in this saw and still utilize my fences. I did like his idea of extending the track, which I did in mine, so that I can add a stop block and extend my pieces out. And here I've set a stop block over here. And it just has a little notch to fit in the T-track. So it slides up and down, tightens up, and you're good to go. Again, it's all finished out with walnut. The bulk of it was scrap walnut in this project. Almost all my drawer fronts, all my pull fronts on the festool stuff was all scrap. The only walnut I purchased specifically for this project was my front material, and I picked that up yesterday just because I didn't have enough pieces long enough on hand. It's all birch plywood with some walnut trim and whatnot, and a little bit of Formica countertop that turned out great. I'm super happy with that. So I think this saw should last me for a good long time. I did do the adjustable bed, which came in super handy for leveling this saw. So that was super nice. So now I'll just get it loaded up and get the storage stuff. And when we do the shop tour, hopefully I can show you some of that stuff. And that should be coming up here very soon, if not next. But I know that there's a shop tour coming since the shop is brand new. So I know that that's coming. So until then, take care, guys.